All right, moving on. This would normally be entertainment, but we had to talk about it. Apple teaching AI to adapt to the Trump era. So this is going to be a little lengthy, but I need to paint a full picture here. So this is from Politico. Apple policy documents enacted by a subcontractor show how the company shifted its approach to fine tuning its AI in March, 2 months after the U.S. president was inaugurated. 2 months after Apple CEO Tim Cook sat down at Donald Trump's inauguration, several hundred employees at an Apple subcontractor in Barcelona received a new memo. The memo, in the form of fresh guidelines on how to talk to and evaluate answers from Apple's upcoming new artificial intelligence model, appeared to have been retooled following Trump's return to the White House, according to Politico's review of the guidelines and interviews with two data annotators working on the effort. Both of them are reviewing and rating the answers of an as yet unreleased large language model based chatbot. Apple's ongoing development of a chatbot and its anticipated 2026 launch was first reported by Bloomberg. Politico viewed two sets of guidelines given to the data annotators by the subcontractor, one that was in use in 2024 and at the beginning of 2025, and an updated version shared in March, 2 months after Trump's inauguration. The March document introduced updated guidelines on how the AI talks about diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, a topic for which boardrooms around the country, including Apple itself, have come under high-profile attacks from the U.S. administration compared to the 2024 rating document seen by Politico. As well as taking greater care around a host of politically sensitive topics, including diversity initiatives, elections, and vaccines, the company also updated its guidance to give closer attention to the AI's responses on Trump's supporters and on Apple itself. The topics flagged in the guidance documents are ones on which Apple's AI is likely to provide more carefully coached answers to users. There is no way to know how the model will respond specifically or what stance it will take on topics deemed sensitive given the nature of the technology. The previous guidelines categorized intolerance as a harmful behavior that data annotators have to signal. The document defined it as, quote, demonstrating intolerance toward individuals or groups differing from oneself. It manifests in various forms, including discrimination, prejudice, and bigotry, and is characterized by a reluctance to embrace diversity and equity, unquote. This wording disappeared in the March version of the guidelines, as did mention of systemic racism and others. While the March document still categorizes discrimination as harmful, diversity, equity, and inclusion is now marked as a controversial topic. So, I want to say something, and this might feel deductive, but follow me, please. Racism is ignorance, and ignorance is part and parcel to uneducated, undereducated people, philosophies, etc. Right? But that doesn't mean that these folks can't wield power. That's indeed the most dangerous type of power, because they think they know better than all of the scientists saying, hey, we are causing damage to the planet that we cannot fix. We need to stop. Nope, these people know better than all of those people that actually do that work. Right? These people ignore, or they might be part of the problem, and pay alternative scientists who will line their pockets, people that are morally bankrupt, that use their degrees and weaponize their, I guess, tenure or experience against the consensus so that they can enrich themselves, right? And then these people that are not smart, I know I know I'm kind of making some leaps here, but I think that they're valid, all things considered, will seek the truth that comforts them rather than confront the truth that is challenging, but the truth that is valid and is it is foundational in a shared reality for all of us. Okay. So these people, these not smart people that do wield power, I think it's obvious by what Apple is doing, how far that power can extend. Imagine Apple computers. I believe Apple is the one company, at least they were recently, the one company that had more cash on hand than the United States government. One company. Okay. Apple brought you the iPhone. Need I say more? Okay. This is a brilliant company bowing to effectively an ignoramus and all of his followers. Now, that's not to say there aren't smart people over there. Smart people can be morally bankrupt and use their intelligence to, and they misrepresent, facts and data and mischaracterize events, etc. But they can do that effectively. And they end up convincing less intelligent people to adopt a philosophy that is just wrong, right? We've seen it and we continue to see it. I'm sure we will continue to see it. But this is the effect of people who aren't smart with a lot of power. That indeed a company that is as brilliant, as innovative as Apple, a company as successful as Apple, further bends the knee. And so shame on Apple for this. This is a political article, and we'll see how things shake out. But this doesn't surprise me one bit. And obviously, the tooling suggests that they're moving in this direction. But how well does Apple fare in the long run? One of the things that we've been saying is that this looks very much like the fall of Rome. You know what I mean? So even if people win in this lifetime, do their grandchildren win? Or do their grandchildren speak Mandarin? And this is the thing that these less intelligent, less educated people fail to consider, because racism has propped up their thinking for many of them. And the rest of it, it's fear. So that's what I have to say. Q, the rest of the time is yours.
I love the grace that you show people. As you say, they will miscategorize. No, Ramses, they're will lying. Lie to you. They're lying. They're not making some mistake. They're lying to people, right? Those on that side that happen to be intelligent cannot be benevolent and intelligent. So if they are intelligent, they are nefarious. And the things that they're telling you are lies so that they can be more well off. Them, though, them and theirs, not you. It's not a we or a us. When they say we, they mean that exclusively, not inclusively. They're not also talking about you, poor white person that hates black people. They're talking about themselves. And it's just an interesting thing that we've had to deal with, man. Like, that company being a pre-compliant knee bender, bootlicker, doesn't make any sense. The most successful company in the history of retail, Ramses. You want me to say it again?
I know.
The most successful company in the history of retail. I always wondered why people bent the knee to such a weak person. And it's because of the unfettered, unstagnated access to everything. An insatiable level of greed. Having more than everyone put together has ever had is not enough. I need it all. And for access to that, and so my shareholders can keep making money on their investment in my company, I will sell out everything. It is a strange thing that almost every rich and powerful person on earth supports the current president. What does that say again about capitalism?